The big question is this: how do we take a seemingly ordinary world and make it beyond extraordinary? In yoga, there is so much more than meets the eye, and it's not just the things we do on our yoga mats that make the biggest difference. That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. My name is Austin Bitsis, and welcome to Life as a Secret Yogi. Welcome to the Secret Yogi Society and the show Life as a Secret Yogi. If you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button in iTunes so you never miss a new episode. Today we have a fun bonus episode which, funny enough, almost didn't happen due to audio issues. Ultimately, we decided to just do it anyways because, you know what, life isn't perfect and sometimes these things just happen. The most important thing is that we talk about this during the episode, is that we just show up, and it is when we show up authentically and allow ourselves to be vulnerable that we are happily surprised and build the greatest connections with others. So I really hope you don't mind the poor audio because sometimes these things just happen. And one of my mantras lately has been, I'm willing to take risk and not everything has to be perfect. But for everyone new to this show, I promise the audio is not normally like this. So I hope you don't mind. This episode is with Baye Tilson and McKensie Kirchner, the founders of Nola Tribe Yoga and Nola Tribe Yoga. Every time I speak with them, their positive energy is contagious. I love what they're doing with bringing together community and getting people to practice yoga through fun and engaging ways. In true Nola Tribe Yoga spirit, they even had the idea for us to crack open a cold beer during this conversation. And so make sure you listen throughout the episode because there are a lot of great ideas on how to make yoga fun and engaging, and also some awesome alternative yoga mindset that you probably won't hear anywhere else. That this really makes Baye and McKensie secret yogis by utilizing yoga to make life beautiful. After this episode, as usual, we'll end with a great meditation to pull us back to the present moment and end off cool, calm, and collective. Just before we jump into this episode, just a quick word from our sponsor. Okay, just kidding. We still don't have a sponsor, but that's okay. You know why? Because I'm willing to invest both time and money into this show because I so deeply believe in creating a community that is helping each other bring beauty into our lives. The Secret Yogi Society is to utilize the universality of yoga to bring back the feelings when we were like a little kid just playing around in this world. This world is a magical place and anything is possible. So today, I wish we were sponsored by Joe Dispenza's book called Becoming Supernatural. Yes, another book. Do not judge me. I don't use a lot of products, and the only thing I really splurge on is education in the form of books, and I really love books, so this probably won't be the last one. I remember when this book first came out a few years ago, it was just the thing I was looking for at the time. It mixed insightful scientific studies with ancient wisdom to show how people like you and me experience a more mystical life. It basically proved the power of meditation and the brain through scientific studies. The case studies in this book will blow your mind. So if you're someone who wants to make life beautiful through yoga and meditation, but you're also someone like me who needs to see the data, and you might be a very analytical person or a skeptical person, this book is for you. So it's called Becoming Supernatural: How Common People Are Doing the Uncommon, and it's by Joe Dispenza, who I'll most definitely reach out to as a guest in a future episode if you all are interested in hearing about his life as a secret yogi. Let me know in the comments below if he's someone you'd like to have on the show. As always, you don't have to, but of course, if you were to use the affiliate link in the show notes below, it would be greatly appreciated, and all the proceeds go directly back into supporting the show. Thank you so much for all who support and supported this show, and I'll make sure to pay it back tenfold. So enjoy the episode. Can you take us back to the origin story of Nola Tribe Yoga? Did you feel that there was something missing within the yoga community, or specifically your yoga community down in New Orleans?
Yeah, definitely. So we started Nola Tribe Yoga back in April of 2016. And I had just started to actually take yoga classes about a month before. We worked together at a cycling, yoga, and TRX studio in New Orleans. And I was avid in the cycling and the TRX and never really found it driving with yoga, didn't really find it beneficial for me and just didn't really understand it until I took one of Baye's yoga classes, and it completely flipped my ideas of what a yoga class could be. And she is so energetic, so fun, so funny on your yoga mat, where you feel like you're getting a good workout, but you're like connecting with the teacher, you're connecting to others around you. And I was like, we became super fast friends. And then fast forward to probably a month later, we were at a girlfriend's birthday outdoors at a wine at Bacchanal in New Orleans, for those that are familiar. It's a magical place, obviously. And over a bottle or two of rosé, we were like, we should make this a thing and have social yoga be a part of New Orleans and do yoga in places like we were at a wine garden. Just have it be fun and exciting. Baye, I think you had experienced similar classes in Houston before. It wasn't really a thing in New Orleans yet. Like social pop-up yoga wasn't a thing in 2016. And we thought that it would be so much fun to connect with New Orleanians where they were, which is oftentimes drinking outside at places, and take yoga like to New Orleans and just use it as a way to connect people and create a community around like a fun social yoga class. Mm-hmm. And that's what we did.
And do you remember your first official Nola Tribe Yoga event that you guys did? Was it back in 2016 that you had your first kind of official class?
Our first class, because McKensie and I came up with this idea, and we go back and forth on who's really driving the get it done, let's just go, an agile methodology versus go. And we were amazing balance, because at this point, McKensie was the propelling force. Let's just go. Let's just do it. And I was like, I don't know. I think we need to like back up and slow down. And I was getting married at the time.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. I'm nervous. I don't want to start this whole new thing. It's a lot of being vulnerable, like putting yourself out there as business women and being like, hey, we really just hope someone's going to pick up what we're putting down. But McKensie said, she was like, when are you going to be back from your wedding, from your honeymoon? And I was like, and I gave her a date, and she was like, great, we'll teach a sunrise yoga class that Wednesday at the lakefront. And I was like, good. Like, is anyone gonna come to this class? I was new to New Orleans, and it really felt like this huge leap of faith that and I kept coming back to that field of dreams mantra, which is if you create it, they will come. And I think I just leaned into, we've got the right intention, and if someone is picking up what we're putting down, then they'll be there. And whether it's one person or 200, it would be meaningful.
Few sunrise yoga classes, I think we might have been the only people that showed up. Like you and me, and I'd be like, do you want to just teach me yoga for an hour? But I think it only took, maybe there were 2 classes at the beginning that it was just us. And then we just kept showing up, and we just kept promoting, and we just kept at it. And then we started to add in some fun. We did, what was it? What was the name of it? I can't remember. It was the yoga plus the rosé wine. But anyways, it was a yoga class in a wine shop with rosé flights afterwards. And we sold that out to like 35 guests. So I think once we had that under our belts, we felt sort of, hang our metaphorical hat on to move forward.
Yeah, no, I think that's great in the sense of kind of getting it out to more people. And I think a lot of people could resonate with that. Just like overall, like just seems fun, like mixing two things that from the culture of New Orleans, and then also just kind of like your guys' fun personality and just bringing it to, and not kind of like that mantra you're saying, they'll come, right? Just make it. And if you really believe in it, they'll come. So how'd you guys eventually kind of take that into the sister company called Bride Tribe Yoga? Was that something that you guys just thought that it could be a company in itself?
We kind of formulated it at the same time, like in tandem. We didn't even mean to start like one over the other. I think that I was maybe married to Bride Tribe Yoga a little bit more from the beginning, and Baye introduced more of the social yoga in New Orleans, and we just kind of launched them both at the same time. Again, because Baye had just gotten married, and I had a good friend that was hosting a bachelorette party in Austin, and they were wanting to bring a yoga instructor out to the house, and it never happened. But I was like, that would have been awesome if it had happened. And so one city for bachelorettes, and it's such a party till you drop kind of city. And we thought that it would be such a perfect complement to a bachelorette weekend to host a yoga class that's going to unite women. And, oftentimes there are people coming in from multiple cities that haven't really met each other. And then you're thrown into, Bourbon Street and whatnot. And it's always better to like get to know each other a little bit more and to have this underlying like sisterhood, intention, exalting the bride as like kind of the theme of the weekend, and not just to have it be so crazy party time. And we have found, oh my gosh, like hosting bachelorette parties are some of the sweetest, most endearing, exciting experiences like you could wish for as an instructor. They're just so eager and so loving, and it's a really cool experience.
Yeah.
Real treasure to be a part of someone's bridal experience.
No, I totally agree. I never been to a bridal or a bachelorette party. I probably
Sounds about right.
Yeah, I probably not looking to get invited in the future. So I won't personally have that experience. But where does kind of yoga fit into, say, like the weekend? Because I'm sure it's like a weekend type of event, party, connection. Is it the whole kind of detox, retox thing to finding balance and adding something healthy into somewhere that it might not have been?
I think it's both of those things, right? Like I think that, so I speak from my own experience, my bachelor weekend went so fast. And if I'm being totally honest, it was pretty wasty party for a lot of it. And it was such a treasure to be really intentional about why we were all there. Mm-hmm. And that's what I love most when I teach bachelorette yoga classes, is that it's whether you're good at the yoga or you suck at the yoga, it's hilarious. And then on the other hand, it's this like really humbling thing where like part of the practice of yoga is letting go of ego. And I think when we are able to start shedding that ego and be reminded of the fact that truly what brings us to a bachelorette or a bridal yoga class is love. And I think that is yoga, and yoga is love. And so it's a really cool cyclical experience, but it all just really fit together with intention.
Mm-hmm. And are you guys looking to do bachelor parties anytime in the future, in the sense of like kind of,
sure,
on both ends, you could kind of bring people together, or is kind of just stuck to bachelorette and bridal showers for now?
We do not discriminate, is my quick answer.
Never. We've had instances where there will be, if it's at an Airbnb, that we've had instances where there will be like a bachelorette party next door that will, come out and wave and like cheers to us or whatnot. They're like, how do we get a yoga class? We're like, here's my car. And of course they don't follow through, but I'm like, I'll be over after this class to teach y'all yoga. But I think that it's for sure would be so fun. There's a lot of great male yoga instructors in New Orleans and in general that we've experienced that we would love to partner with in that, I think, too.
Totally agree. I think just from like a perspective as a male, I think real men do yoga. So
yeah.
And I think a lot of people are open to it too. So it's definitely something that I could see being incorporated into a weekend. Just make sure you feel good, kind of incorporating something healthy into a weekend that might not be so healthy on the physical side. I'm really fascinated by the whole idea of kind of making yoga fun, like putting this fun twist on yoga. And I'd also like to reframe it for somebody listening that might be saying that might be stuck more into traditional yoga, and when they see it kind of mixing with booze and the partying, it might be tarnishing kind of that reputation. However, I would like to kind of take a step back and reframe kind of what you guys are doing as a whole. And what you guys are really doing is, in my viewpoint, is really bringing the amazing, like, universal benefits of yoga to events and to people that would have not otherwise experienced it. And it's kind
100%.
of like that detox adds really a beauty through like the mindfulness and the movement in ways that are more beneficial than simply the retox of the partying. And that whole sense kind of really brings in that community feeling in a healthy way. So it's really just social yoga. And that's what you guys have really done strongly, in my opinion.
Totally.
And you guys could probably speak more on that, like just social yoga and making yoga more social.
So I'd even like to back up. I think that I am sure there are people out there who roll their eyes or raise their eyebrows at the fact that we invite you to bring a beer to your mat. But that's part of the reason we started this whole thing, because there's a community of practitioners, for better or for worse, who take it so seriously that it's become this culture of better than thou yoga. And like, are you a good yogi if you don't drink? Or are you a good yogi if you like wear mala beads? Like, what does that mean? Like, yoga is a practice for everyone. I live into that theory. And I think it's really off-putting that like some practitioners, some people have made it oh, you're only a yogi if you do X, Y, Z and chant your mantra 83 times a day. Like, no, yoga is a practice of mindfulness in how you live. My yoga practice doesn't start and stop for the 60 minutes I'm on the mat. It's something that I think about in every part of my day, right? How do I breathe into discomfort? Whether it happens on my yoga mat in a challenging pose, or whether it happens in a conflict with someone I love, it's all yoga. And so our intention, I speak for both, yoga is for everyone. And no matter who you are or how you are feeling in any given day, we've got a space for you. And you are welcome in our tribe. And we are truly happy to have you. And if honestly, if it takes, we said this too, if it takes a beer or a baby goat or a little kitten or rose, I don't care. I'm not going to judge you, right? And non-judgment, non-harm is one of the 8 limbs of yoga. So we can talk like the practice. Thought is, who are you excluding from that dialogue when you do that? And that's the opposite of what we want to do. We want to welcome everyone.
I 100% agree. And that's kind of one of the reasons that I created Life as a Secret Yogi, but is talking to people, what I call the Secret Yogi Society, is that yoga is for everybody. And I know even reading sutras with Patanjali, and I know one of his like initial sutras is 1.13. And basically it just speaks about consistency, and that's how you benefit from yoga. And he doesn't specifically say why. And he specifically does not say why, because it's different for everybody, whatever it means. If it means having a beer, if it means doing it with friends, if it means talking and high-fiving during it, so be it. And I think having that stigma of like strict tradition, and nothing's wrong with that. Nothing's wrong with mala beads. Nothing's wrong with very like a strict practice if that's what works for you. But to stereotype yoga for that's what it is for everybody adds this kind of elitist almost approach to it. And it's not as welcoming to everybody else. And people kind of get this false sense of reality of what yoga truly is. And yoga, exactly what you said, is just mindfulness. And it's just kind of how you control your mind in a way that's positive, and then connecting the body with it. So I 100% agree with what you're kind of saying. And I love how you guys take a fun twist on it, because it opens up the door to a way bigger audience that could benefit from it. And so everybody could benefit from yoga. If you say you can't, then you probably just misunderstand what it
Need
actually
it the
is.
most, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Right, the people who are really, even before they try to off put by yoga, I fear that like they have this impression that yoga is something. And the fact is, yoga is everything and yoga is anything. And so people who have walls up to, maybe that teacher wasn't for you, maybe that venue wasn't for you, maybe that flow wasn't for you, but yoga has something for everyone. And we wanted to create that space where people could find that out and give it a go and lower the barriers to what I really feel is a beautiful practice of community and mindfulness.
Hmm. Yeah, that first time experience is a big thing to overcome. Speaking about that with other guests, and it's like it's a huge hurdle of barrier to entry. People kind of afraid to start, and this is making it a fun and engaging way. And then sometimes we are taking a practice too seriously. At least I know sometimes I have like a bad day where I'm not balancing, and I kind of get frustrated, and I have to take a step back where I'm like, okay, this is not what it's about. Even like we're having this conversation now and kind of having a drink and the audio, you know what? Life's not perfect. It's not perfect. You kind of get the point. And the same thing with yoga. It's like whatever works for you really works. Yeah. So I guess the next thing I would love to talk more about specifically some of the stuff you guys done. You guys host Kitten Yoga parties. And I love like the thing. It's like meow mistake. So I saw that on your guys' website and Instagram. So I love that. Well, first, one question before I go to the next: where do you guys get the kittens? So for this kitten yoga party, is it something that you guys normally do, or is it just like a one time you guys kind of?
This is the most important part of kitten yoga.
Oh, we froze.
No, facility. They have this gorgeous facility. And so the kittens that we host it with, they're all adoptable too. As people get to stick around, play with the kittens, spend time with them, and your ticket price goes towards the adoption fees too. So it's like this big win for everyone, and it's the dang cutest class out there.
I think the only thing better than that would be puppy yoga. I'm a big dog guy. I know, Baye, you are. You just got another puppy, but yeah, they actually more people should do that. I think that's a really good thing to encourage
we've been
adoption.
trying. Well, and that's the things. The puppies, they pretty much get adopted the day that they're born. So we want to do puppy yoga, but they get swiped up so fast.
Yeah, especially right now in the COVID-19 and everything, everyone's staying home. Dogs, there's literally no more dogs in the shelters, which is a great thing.
There aren't, which is incredible.
Yeah, as long as people are responsible and they keep them, that's it's a great thing. And you guys also do pool party yoga, sunrise yoga, tribe yard yoga, and the list goes on. Where does like the inspiration come from? Is it just whatever kind of best fits the event or the audience, like the community that you serve?
I'm sure that if there's other yoga instructors listening to this podcast, they have had the experience where once pop-up yoga became a thing, 4 years ago in New Orleans. I mean, lucky and unlucky, however you want to say it, you have so many venues coming to you, luckily, wanting to offer yoga in their space because they see young, active people coming like at our tribe yard class in the form of 200 people coming to do yoga together. And so they think it's a great exposure, for their junk garage or something. And so we have had these requests for people like that, trying to obviously, mobilize our students to for their business purposes. So in a sense, at the beginning, we were just trying to find places, where would we love to practice yoga? And then we've had a lot of people reach out to us, which many we've, obviously had to turn down because it just doesn't make much sense. But other ones like the Drifter Hotel, they kind of came to us being like, look at this space. This is how we're going to deck it out. We want to make this like a whole wellness brand wrapped within our hotel. We're doing pink astroturf. We have live music and DJs, and those are the opportunities that you just dream of, that people are, seeing the value of your program and the people that you bring in. And so, we just used what we find would be valuable to our yogis, and then it pretty much works out for itself after that.
Cool. And do you guys have any like particular fun party ideas kind of somebody could throw at home? Or I know you guys do a lot of like online yoga class, and you guys even make those fun. I think you're telling me about like you doing it poolside with somebody playing live music.
I don't know. Do you have any crazy ideas for? I feel like we've been so lucky. We've been able to do most of them that we've thought of.
So here's the thing too. I always teach at McKensie too as my most authentic self. And I think I've said that before is like, that's my shtick is like be unapologetically authentic. So when you get to co-teach a yoga class with your best friend, which McKensie and I did on Nola Tribe Yoga's 4th birthday, it was like hilarious.
Like over Instagram too. So like online, she was in Houston, I was in New Orleans, champagne bottles were popped.
There was a lot of
so
like fun. Running to the camera and then like running back to our mats because we have like this Utkatasana thing that we do. It's so, everything is exactly what you make of it. But if you surround yourself with people you love, we can bring whatever kind of party you want us to bring.
Yeah. And I'm sure you guys have like a cult like following, at least down in New Orleans, where people really know about you guys. And then I know you guys spread out into a bunch of other cities, Houston, Austin, Baden Rouge, and Miami.
For just Bride Tribe specifically is where we're expanding for our bachelorette and bridal yoga parties. So, but Nola Tribe, as far as for like our community yoga classes, those are just staying put in New Orleans. But we do have a felt group of yogis that just follow us and show up. And it takes a lot, right? We can put out a vibe. Like we have hosted classes where Baye and I are just joking around and like goofing around and having our best time. And some people are just like, you don't get it until you get it. You don't get it until you let your guard down and just come out from behind your mask and are like, oh, they're having a good time. Like I can do the same thing. Like I don't need to be flow on the mat. And so we have a lot of people that get it, right? That they've drank the Kool-Aid, that yoga should be fun and exciting and, just authentic. And they just appreciate what we're doing and they're amazing.
And are there any particular moments that power of like bringing this community together really shined? I know you particularly mentioned one moment during like a particular election. I think it was Baye that you mentioned that. Can you speak about that and like kind of showing up more authentically and allowing yourself to become vulnerable?
Sure. So I can speak briefly to that one, which is just one example that stands out to me because I think it's really easy generally to like McKensie and I when we're having a good time and like when things are great and all is right in the world, right? Because we're happy and we love life and we love people. This one stood out to me because it was a class that I was sad on this day. And at the time, McKensie wasn't teaching yoga. I think I was one of our only instructors. So I didn't really even expect anyone to come to this class because in my opinion, in New Orleans, it was kind of a sad day, but people showed up because I think they know that our classes are safe spaces to be however you are. Days, easy to do. Bad days, especially as like the instructor of a class, I feel responsible for the energy in the space, but I felt like I had to prioritize authenticity over something that wasn't genuine happiness, right? I was sad. And so I think there was some kind of mindful intention that what we've created is a space where you can be who you are and we wouldn't be any other way. And I love that. And this is like, it's so easy. We have so many amazing, wonderful, positive, hilarious, like fun times at Nola Tribe. Like every Drifter hotel to me has been like the best time ever, most hilarious party. Like anything with a pool party, I feel like all of our other instructors show up too, and we just turn out. Like we love hanging out with each other. So like I can reference a million of those. I think it's meaningful to say that we show up with our whole hearts, even when it's hard.
Yeah, I think that's really well put. It's just like show up authentically, but just make sure you show up and whatever that means to you to show up genuine and also just let yourself be vulnerable. It's okay. What are some like actionable steps that you can kind of start engaging more of this social yoga into your day to day? I know just maybe just practicing in the park right now because we're social distancing with some friends, making yoga fun. Is there anything else that you would say that kind of key to creating more of a social yoga? Because a lot of times we go to class and it's like we're afraid to even speak to disturb the silence, right? Even before or after class, when the teacher's not speaking, kind of the lights are dimmed and you don't want to say something and disturb somebody. So is there anything particularly that you guys can see that maybe a yoga studio or a particular student or teacher can incorporate?
Yeah, I feel like when you go into a studio, you maybe talk to the front desk agent and then you go in and maybe the instructor is kind of at the front of class and not talking as much. Sometimes they'll come and introduce themselves. But what we really do when anyone walks into any of our classes, granted there's not like a central door that people are necessarily walking into. It's kind of just this mass area that people come into. And so make a point to, it's about looking people in the eyes and literally extending your hand and shaking their hand. Every single person that walks through the door, whether it's a sunrise yoga class of 15 people or a top yoga class of, 150 people, we know that with some studios, that's what you feel that when you're not connected with upon entering, right? Like we never want people to feel like they're there alone. And so it's just that upon arrival and then getting seated on people's mats. Honestly, we get people close together on their mats. There's no spreading out, because our classes get full, right? So people have to be close together, but we get people near and dear, even just spatially creating that community. And then upon starting class, we always have people introduce themselves to someone near them, to someone that they did not come with. And then we have an icebreaker question, and it's usually like based on something happening, in the world, or in New Orleans. Like, what's your favorite Mardi Gras parade? And you just talk to the person next to you about that. We do fun stuff during class to get people talking. Like Baye was saying during chair pose, we woo when we get into chair pose. So we say Utkatasana, low chair pose, and then everybody woo in the class. And just like literally igniting people to open their mouths and to make a noise, right? And to tell jokes during class. We literally tell them, please laugh out loud at our jokes, giving people just the invitation to, obviously we don't want to disrupt class with people talking and whatnot, but you're a participant, right? Like you're an active participant in what we're doing. Another one of our favorite things is during tree pose, when people are close enough, we have people turn their palms out and connect with the person next to them and just share that energy hand to hand. I know all yoga instructors and students, we know that we suffer from like a lack of physical touch and how good it feels to touch and be touched. And so we encourage that, as much as possible during class too. And then when you get to sit around for rosé after, you're like, please do that. And please come say hi to us. We want to be your friends. Let's hang out. And it naturally happens, So
I think too, just to add on to that, like before this whole situation and probably as soon as we can safely after it, we're big huggers. Like I believe in like a hug feels good, even with a stranger. And if you have just shared a yoga class with me, we are enough on the same wavelength. Like I have given you my energy. You have shared your energy with me. Like a hug feels I feel like I used to hug like 100 people every Wednesday and it felt so good.
Yeah.
And then to like further that one step further, we hired our instructors from our yoga classes. We met Becca on Halloween. I still remember her dressed in a costume coming up to us after class being like, hi, I just moved here from Chicago, but I teach yoga. And we were like, all right, come on, girl. Caitlin, our first instructor, was at that very first class we taught. And this girl has some like sexy cat cows, stood out to me. Afterwards, she introduced herself though. And I was like, you are just kindness and love and light. And like, that's how we get our yoga instructors too, is that they're part of our community and they are showing up authentically. And we love that, right?
Yeah. And I think that the big things that you guys kind of said, which is great for anyone who's just kind of like breaking it down to just when you enter, just say hello. when you leave, just say hello or just make kind of conversation, and people will appreciate that. And you know what? If they don't, maybe that's not somebody you want to really talk to, right? So it's like those people that just simply say hello and simply just kind of recognize that there's another human near you. And also, I know that it's very powerful, like what you were talking about with like the tree. Like I've done that before where we kind of make a circle in tree pose and we hold hands, and that's super powerful, especially when you make eye contact with somebody across, and it might mess up your balance a little bit and it's a little funny. And then you kind of just like without even words, you kind of make a connection with somebody. And also, I know you guys are not big on kind of like ohms and, but I've done that before too with a bunch of people kind of in a group for a while. And we say we're going to do it until it doesn't become awkward, because I know myself, like when I'm doing a chanting or an om, like I'm not as confident in my voice, and it's just like I'm going to do it until it's not awkward, and then everyone's just having fun. So it's like just kind of committing to that. So what's next for you guys in kind of entrepreneurship, for your students, your practice, to really serve this like yoga movement community and just overall just people?
That's a hard question for this moment when the future is so uncertain. More about adapting to the present, right? Because we didn't expect this. And I think that it's going to like take us being inventive and using the same things that made us successful in the beginning to make people feel ultra connected and be ultra social while we're isolated. And so I'm looking forward to doing some cool virtual yoga that's kind of pushing the limits of what we've already done. Right now we're on YouTube and Instagram is how we're doing our live classes, but I think there's a real value in the Zoom calls and be able to see people and feel that further connection. So it's just hard with the limit technology and the limits of, going to stores and buying new equipment and all of that stuff right now. So the entrepreneurial spirit burns brightly. It's just kind of well contained right now. I think also we're so excited to expand our Bride Tribe Yoga to more and more cities. And we're so excited about being in Miami and actually having hosted classes there now, and hosting a lot of classes in Austin and spreading quickly across the southern United States. And then also looking to New York. I've been talking to instructors up there. And I think kind of, finding where we fit in with needing to be socially distanced, and like seeing where, we can start to infuse like some smaller classes back into communities.
Yeah. And as for the future of yoga, and I've been asking it to all of our guests kind of where they see it going in terms of, nobody really knows, but we just know that we have to continue to build community in whatever way possible. If it's over a video call, FaceTime, Zoom or something, or when we finally have the chance to kind of do some social distancing, even do some yoga in the park as it's starting to get summertime. So do you guys have any thoughts on the future of yoga, or just not sure, uncertain?
Nola Tribe Yoga is uniquely positioned to jump back in when it's safe to do so. We are already, Bride Tribe too, we're already really flexible about where we post up. Unusual circumstance, maybe it created a more global community. I, at least as an instructor in Houston, I left my New Orleans community, which was really hard geographically. And yet this has brought us back together in like some really beautiful ways. And I hope that those bridges and those channels of communication are sustainable even after this.
And I think they will be, definitely. I don't think it's going to be a switch that kind of flips and everything's going to go back to normal. But slowly as things transition and people become more comfortable being around and kind of being social in terms of, it's not social distancing. It's really what one of our guests said, Crystal Bashir. She says it's physical distancing. It's social connection, but it's really just physical distancing. I stop using that word social distancing, because it's really not. I mean, I think I've become closer with so many people just because of the increased utilization of like video calls.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
Was there anything particular you wish I mentioned in terms of anything you guys, topics you wanted to speak about?
The one thing I would just put out there is that Bride Tribe, do not hesitate. If we are not listed as a city that you want to have your bachelorette party in, hit us up. We've got yogis everywhere. Maybe McKensie and I will take a personal trip out to teach your class. We never know. You might just get that lucky. Don't hesitate to reach out for bride time.
If you're an instructor, also reach out. If you're an instructor that is excited about that, you know, expand to new cities as quickly as possible. So hit us up on both sides.
Cool. Yeah, and for everyone listening, it was Baye and McKensie. They kind of came on for this special edition with in this joint interview. You could also follow Nola Tribe Yoga on Instagram. It's at Nola Tribe Yoga, as well as visit their website, nolatribeyoga.com, for more information, especially if you're visiting New Orleans or one of the Pacific cities that Bride Tribe Yoga is offered in. And then just as I said, I mean, definitely reach out, even if it's not offered in your city. They're looking to expand, and they'd be happy to do that. So is there anywhere else that they could find you? I know you guys have a YouTube channel as well.
Yep. If you just search Nola Tribe Yoga on YouTube, you can find us there. We have a bunch of videos up and running. Baye also has her own personal channel at Baye Elizabeth. Is that right, Baye? Or is it at Baye Tilson?
Baye Tilson on YouTube.
Gotcha. And then we also have a separate Bride Tribe Yoga website and Bride Tribe Yoga on Instagram.
Thank you so much for joining this episode. I hope you loved this conversation. If you're the type of person who has taken action to make life beautiful through the tools of yoga, I'd really appreciate if you headed over to iTunes and left us a raving review to keep this show going. Every review is read by myself, the host, and your feedback will most definitely be taken into account for future episodes. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Have an extraordinary rest of your day, and remember, our actions and thoughts are contagious, so make them good ones.